A good Thursday to you, Bethany. Today we are at the end of Matthew's Gospel, the post-resurrection story, and it's one of my favorite passages. It's Matthew 28:16 through 20. Now the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain to which Jesus had directed them. When they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. And Jesus came and said to them, All authority in heaven and earth have been given unto me. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything that I have commanded you. And remember, I am with you always to the end of the age. This is one of my favorite passages, and as you can see, it's highlighted in my Bible, because that's our mission. That's what we're called to do, but also because in the midst of the resurrected Jesus, in the physical midst of the resurrected Jesus, the disciples gathered together on the mountain to worship him, but some doubted. Some struggled with doubt, just like we sometimes struggle with doubt. Just like the world sometimes gets a little too hard for us, and we struggle with our faith, with our belief. Doubt and faith aren't opposite. Doubt and faith are part of the same coin. I think the opposite of faith is apathy, because you just don't care. That's the opposite of faith. Doubt is faith struggling for understanding. And that's okay, because right here they're saying they gathered together and some doubted. But that was okay. They were still sent out on a mission. They were still allowed to have a growth in their understanding of their faith. So then they're called to baptize all nations, all people, it doesn't matter, to go everywhere and to share the gospel, not just within our clan, not just within our group, not just within our tribe, but everywhere, to go to all the nations. And then the part that I really, truly love is that we're sent out to all nations. And what are we sent out to do? To baptize and to teach them everything that he commanded. Well, he commanded us a few things. He commanded the Lord's Supper, that we should do this. He just got done commanding baptism. But his main commandment, the one in which he says all of the law and the prophets, all of the Old Testament are held up in, is to love God with all of our heart, soul, and mind, and love our neighbor as ourselves. To love God with all of our heart, soul, and mind, and love our neighbors as ourselves. You know, if I have one complaint about my brothers and sisters at this time, during this time of virus, is we aren't always thinking about the other. Now, I may not be talking to you, and if I'm not, that's fine. But I'm talking to those who go out in public without a mask. You know, the mask that I wear isn't for me. The mask I wear is for you, so that my droplets don't get upon you. It's not protecting me, it's protecting you. You know, I kind of equate it to, and this is kind of a risque story, but I'm going to share it anyhow. I equate it to, let's say everybody's naked, and somebody comes up and pees on your leg's going to get wet. If you put on a pair of pants, and somebody pees on your leg will still get wet, but just not as wet. But if they put on a pair of pants, you won't get wet at all. You'll stay dry. That's what the mask does. And as Christians, we're to love our neighbor as ourselves. So I don't know if my neighbor has a problem, if my neighbor has a sickness. I don't know if my neighbor has deficient immunity. So I wear the mask when I go out for them. And as Christians, we are called to do that. We're called to stay in place for our neighbor. We're called to, when we do go out, to wear protective masks for our neighbor. And this is the one main thing Jesus commanded. Baptize, do the Lord's Supper, and love. Baptize, do the Lord's Supper, and love. Teaching them to love God and to love neighbor. And what a better way to teach than to show our neighbors how much we love them by doing the things we need to do to protect them in this difficult time. Now, earlier this week, our governor said that we can start meeting. There'll be a letter going out to all of you, coming from the bishop's office, signed by the bishop's office, the bishop, his assistants, also signed by the deans, which I am one of, and the chaplains, calling on churches not to meet. I know the governor says it's time, but it's not time. I'm sorry, it's not safe for us to meet yet. Matter of fact, one of the last papers I looked at, coming from Washington State, said June 26th, the day before my birthday. Another paper said July 20th, that Iowa will be safe to go back to normal, whatever that may be. I know this is frustrating. I know it's hard. And I know for some of us it causes great financial distress. And for some of us it causes great emotional distress. I understand that. I experience it myself. My mom and dad are transitioning from one unit at Scenic Living Communities to another unit today. I can't be with them. I can't help them through this transition. I feel like, in a way, I'm not fulfilling the fourth commandment to honor my mother and father. But I am fulfilling Christ's commandment to love my neighbor, to not risk the people in Scenic Living Communities just in case I have been exposed. Because we've seen what happens when that terrible virus hits a place like a care center. It just ravages the place. And so we stay away. I know it's hard. I'm living it too. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them everything that I have commanded you, to love God with heart, soul, and mind, and love neighbor as yourself. And the best news is, as we go through this terrible, difficult struggle, we have a promise. Jesus says, remember, I am with you always through the end of the age. No matter what we face, the one who suffered is with us in our own suffering and struggles. So let's go out today and show that love. Or better yet, let's stay in today and show that love. God bless. Great Thursday.